Hi everybody, I am TheReadingTortie and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing part 4 of 4, the very last part of the book review for A Column of Fire by Ken Follett. Fantastic, spectacular book. I will link parts 1 through 3 in the description box below where we cover the other aspects of the book, which are character, synopsis, setting, plot, conflict, and Historicism. I added historicism just because of this book. So this video will be covering the resolution and the conclusion, which would be the overall review of my opinion of the book. So, Ken Follett's A Column of Fire takes place between 1558 and 1620, and it takes place during the Elizabethan era, during the religious and political upheaval of Europe as the ultra-Catholics battle the ultra-Protestants for control over Europe. I personally don't think it's a fight of faith. It's more of a fight of control. But that's just me, considering all the big players are kind of corrupt central. So, on to the resolution of the book. In my opinion, so this book obviously has many layers of conflict. There are small conflicts, there are larger conflicts. There's, the giant plane of the world versus Ned and Rollo. However, every single conflict in the book, I think, was wonderfully addressed, and it was resolved in a very organic and authentic way. And sometimes you guys will know who I'm talking about, but I feel like it was almost a beautiful lingering afterthought, the way that it was handled. I feel like one particular character was handled with almost like, oh yeah, oh by the way, just dismissed, like, oh, okay, done. It was very dismissive. It was offensive in a beautiful way. And I feel like that was Ken Follett just not liking the character from the get-go and kind of giving the character his own peace of mind, kind of like, this is my opinion of you. You just get an afterthought of your death. You don't even get this huge deal. You're just like, okay, you're dead. Moving on. Nobody cares or remembers. That might just be me, but I really enjoyed that. Ken Follett ties up all of the conflicts really well in the book, and they don't all happen in one big wallop. They happen slowly through the story. So at the last roughly 150 pages, it's stuff being resolved that I personally did not know it was going to be resolved, or not. I wouldn't put it past Ken Follett to kind of be like, hey, that thing that happened on page 400? We're never going to have a resolution for that because that's life. But thankfully, he's a kind man, and he doesn't do that to me. He puts all of the questions and the secrets and just all of what was left up in the air. He gently brings it down and he sets it out for us and slowly takes it away. He lets us conclude with it, feel it, go through the motions of it, and then he's like, okay, this is over, time for this other part. So I think it was really organic, and I really enjoyed that. So, for example, the ones that I really stand out to me, Rollo and Ned. So Rollo and Ned have been going at it since page 1.5 of this book. I think I knew about them before I knew about Ned and Marjorie. So I knew that they would have, okay, no, at the beginning I didn't know they were going to be such a big deal. But once I did, I was surprised at the way that they were handled. I thought it was really appropriate and really wonderfully done. And I liked the delicacy with which Ken Follett executed their resolution. I don't feel like Ken Follett just ham-fisted it and Ned was like, I'm going to bring down the law on your ass. It was more, man, I'm going to handle you and this situation with dignity and respect, and I'm not going to debase myself because you've been after me for all of our lives. So I really enjoyed that, and I liked that. Although I'm sure Ken Follett was like, yes, we finally caught Rollo, I feel like he was being very thoughtful when he was writing it, so that everything was handled not out of character. Because if Ned would have gone down with, the weight of the world onto Rollo, I would have been like, wow, that's great, but that's a little barbaric for Ned. So I was really happy about that. Another thing that was haunting me was Sylvie's death. So Sylvie is a very important character to me. She, even though I couldn't stand her sometimes and I was just like, I really don't like you, she was amazing. And I think the reason I didn't like her so much is because I saw a little bit of myself in her because of just how brazen and reckless she could be. So I was petrified, and it was a huge worry and concern for me that we were going to get to the ending of the book without having resolved what happened with Sylvie. So when Marjorie finally takes that step, which I think I always was kind of holding that against Marjorie, like, it's your fault, you didn't say something. When the whole situation takes place, I found myself at peace. I was so scared, so nervous that we were not going to get that. And when it all fell into place and other things fell out of place, I was so at peace and happy with Ken Follett. And I'm just like, thank you. And the way Ned handled it, and the way that Marjorie finally broke off from her past and just threw off that last chain of lingering and holding herself back so she could fully be present with Ned, I thought was really amazing. Man, Ken Follett, just developing his characters to the very end, like, she's like in her 60s. She can't develop anymore. There's nothing left. There always is, and I appreciated that so very much. And Ned's retirement. So we all know that for the last about 150 pages, Ned was like, man, I'm getting too old for this stuff. And it's going to be the death of me in the bad way. So I kind of expected it, and I could see it coming, especially once the whole Ned versus Rollo situation was solved. But I was surprised at the way it was done, because there was a lot going on with Ned's retirement. Marjorie, for one, how is he going to deal with Rollo being who he is, and Marjorie's part in it? So I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. What is Ned going to do? Because if Marjorie had told him, in my opinion, about Rollo during the reign of Elizabeth I, that would have been the nail in the coffin, in my opinion. Like, dang, Marjorie, you just wrecked it. Because Ned has dedicated his life to Elizabeth I, So I could see Ned immediately being like, man, I'm going to be a widow again. This sucks. But I see him standing behind Elizabeth before he'll stand behind Marjorie for some reason. However, because all this takes place when King James is in the picture, and although Ned is loyal to the crown, he didn't dedicate, 50 years of his life to James I. He'd been in the monarchy all of 5 years. So I was really impressed that Ned handled the situation the way he did, and I was so proud of it, because that step was him taking his relationship with Marjorie completely out of the shadows, and all of the toxic secrets and all of the poisonous past that was holding them back was completely gone, and he could walk completely into the light with his wife without having to look over his shoulder, without having to fear that someone would find out about this secret. And so when that was handled the way it was, I was just breathless from how wonderful it was. And then, as if Ken Follett didn't give us a fantastic ending already, in the fabulous epilogue, can we talk about the epilogue? Someone, please just mention it in the comments below, because I read the epilogue, I read the last paragraph, I closed the book, and I'm just, what did Ken Follett just do? Did he just do that? Are we going there? What is happening now? So I went to go talk to one of my friends who also read the book, and she says, hey, Tortie, did you read the last page? I'm like, yeah. And she says, what'd you think? And I told her, I have no clue. Like, how can he end it on such a whammy? And now I'm so nervous and so afraid and so concerned. Will the book continue? Because I don't know if it will. And if it does, I'm afraid. I don't want to leave Kingsbridge. I'm afraid to leave Kingsbridge. I'm afraid to leave the 1500s because we're in the 1620s. And for me, if a book passes the 1550s, you're getting to Ishii territory. And so we're going to be in the 1620s. And if you know how the book ends, you know that we're not going to be in Kingsbridge anymore. And I'm a little nervous. And I don't want to leave Kingsbridge. I want to stay in Kingsbridge. So we'll see how that goes. But the resolution was a whammy. So loved it. Ken Follett started this book amazingly, continued it strong. The momentum never ceased. And then he just ended it with a wallop like, yep, by the way, here's this. I'm just going to go ahead and leave you guys wrecked. So no idea what he's going to do, but I'm so excited to see. And anxious, very anxious. So if you guys got any news about this, please feel free to share it with me, because I'll be over here just like panicking about it. So in conclusion, because that is the last thing on my agenda for this video, was the book amazing? Yes. Yes, it was. If you have debated reading it, please pick it up. I believe that it's completely worth your time, especially if you're into historical political fiction. I feel like this will be your fix. If you're into historical fiction and you want more of the like villages stuff going on, and you want a little bit of like nobility drama, but you don't want to be dealing with like monarchs and entire world wars, I would suggest the first two. However, if you decide that this is your bread and butter in your life, which it may be, good for you, you have excellent taste, you can read this as a standalone, simply because this book takes place 200 years, roughly give or take, after the second book, and 400 years after the first. So you're not really missing anything except like a couple of Easter eggs. So if you're going to read it, please do. Be prepared to go for a heck of a ride with this book. Be prepared to see the world, to look at the monarchies, to feel frustrated and angry with your characters, and to really be immersed in this experience and be immersed in the lives of these people and be ready for these people to be a part of your life for roughly 1,000 pages, however long that takes you to read. So, Column of Fire, third book in the Kingsbridge series. First one is Pillars of the Earth, second one is World Without End. I will post a review of those at some point, probably next week. I'm going to keep those in one video each, simply because it's been so long since I've read them. I'm going to just kind of talk about them. But if you guys want to have discussions about the first two, please hit me up, because I totally love the first two. I will eat those two up. So, Ken Follett, Column of Fire, third book in the Kingsbridge series. Completely worth it. Completely worthwhile. And I loved every minute of it. This book did not disappoint me. I pre-ordered this like 8 months in advance. Took 5 days off to read it. And it was worth every single moment of my time. Seriously. This man is a master, a genius. This series is possibly some of the best historical fiction I have ever read. However, A Column of Fire, I think, is the weaker of the three books. I like World Without End first, Pillars of the Earth, and A Column of Fire. However, you're also comparing this book to mountains. So in the grand scheme of it, these books are some of the best historical fiction in existence, period, in my opinion. But of the three, that's how I tier them. So let me know how you guys like it, how you guys tier them, what you guys thought, and why. And let's just have a discussion about this fantastic, amazing behemoth of a book that is actually worth your time, in my opinion. If you find that it's not worth your time, please let me know, and I'm so sorry. But that would be it for this video. So let me know what you guys thought, and thank you for stopping by and supporting me. And be safe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!